Storyteller presents Cinderella.
Once upon a time, there was a lovely young girl named Ella. She lived with her mean old stepmother and her two ugly stepsisters. They were jealous of Ella because she was so beautiful and happy. They wanted Ella to be as miserable as they were. They made poor Ella work from morning till night. They gave her the worst jobs, and they were always nagging.
Ella, get up and light the fire. Ella, fix my hair. Ella, sweep the chimney.
Ella was so good that she never once complained. And that made her stepmother and stepsisters meaner than ever. They made Ella wear old rags. They made her go barefoot, even in winter. They even made her sleep in cinders by the fireplace. One day, Ella's stepmother saw her by the fireplace, covered with black ashes.
Ella is too fine a name for the likes of you. From now on, I shall call you Cinderella.
Many, many years went by. Then one day, a messenger of the king appeared in the village square.
Hear ye! His gracious majesty invites all the young ladies of the kingdom to a grand ball. One of these ladies will be chosen as a bride for his son, the prince.
When Cinderella's stepmother heard this news, her mean, cold heart pounded with excitement. Her daughters were getting old, and they still were not married. She ran and told them the good news.
Come on. We have to get right to work making our gowns. You must look beautiful.
On the evening of the grand ball, the whole kingdom was filled with merriment and cheer. The music from the dance floated down from the king's castle, perched on the very tip-top of the mountain above the town. In the house where Cinderella lived, her two stepsisters dashed around like wet hens to get ready for the ball. They made Cinderella help them. They were so mean that they wouldn't let Cinderella go with them. She would have to stay home, all alone. On their way out, they gave Cinderella last-minute instructions.
Now be sure and clean the house. Make our bed. And above all, fix the fire so it's nice and warm when we get home.
And with that, they swept from the house, escorted by their mother. Cinderella stared out the window, as unhappy as she could be. She was so alone. It was so quiet. The poor girl started to cry. Just then, she heard a voice behind her.
Don't cry, Cinderella.
Cinderella turned and saw a lovely lady standing there.
Who are you? I'm your fairy godmother. I've come to get you ready for the ball.
The ball? The prince? Oh, I'd love to go, but I can't. I haven't a gown. I haven't dancing slippers or a coach.
So you haven't, my child. Well, just look out the window.
Cinderella saw a pumpkin sitting in the garden. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand, and the pumpkin became a great golden coach with silver wheels, drawn by 4 sleek black horses.
Now we must find you a gown and fix your hair.
She waved her wand once again, and Cinderella found herself wearing the most shimmering, sparkling gown ever. She had never felt more beautiful. And she was. The dirt disappeared from her face, and her hair was fixed like a princess. The fairy godmother placed a pair of dainty glass slippers on Cinderella's feet. She smiled ever so gently at Cinderella.
And now, my little princess, you are ready. But I must warn you about one thing. You must promise to leave the ball before midnight, because at the stroke of 12, my spell will be broken, and you will again be a Cinder girl.
I promise. Oh, thank you so much.
And she jumped into the coach, and away she went. The ball was a swirl of color and happy dancers and bright music. Everyone was excited, except for the prince, who sat on his throne and looked glum and upset. He had met every girl at the dance, and not one of them did he want to marry. And then Cinderella arrived. When she entered, a hush fell over the room. The music stopped. People murmured.
Who is she? She's beautiful.
Look at her coach.
Look at her gown.
She must be a princess.
The prince left his throne and walked over to her. Everyone fell quiet.
Lovely lady. May I have this dance?
I would be honored, Your Highness.
Let the music play on. I have found my partner.
No one knew who she was or where she came from. But it didn't matter. Cinderella and the prince danced every dance. They never left each other's side. Even the cruel stepsisters and stepmother didn't realize that the beautiful mystery girl was their very own Cinderella. And so it went on, hour after hour. And then the clock started to strike. Cinderella was startled.
What's that?
Just the clock. It's midnight.
Midnight? Oh, I must go.
She tore herself from the prince's arms and ran out the door. The other dancers were astonished. The prince ran after her.
Wait. Wait! Don't go! Guards, stop her!
But it was too late. She was gone. The prince stood outside and stared sadly into the darkness. Then he looked down at the ground.
What's this? A glass slipper? Her slipper. It's so dainty, so smooth. It must have slipped off her foot. No matter how long it takes, I will search until I find the foot that fits this slipper.
So Cinderella returned to her cinders and rags. And the prince, in his castle high on the hill, wished for the girl of his heart. Meanwhile, his servants searched the kingdom, door to door, carrying the glass slipper. Finally, they came to Cinderella's house. There, a royal servant commanded the stepmother.
Bring all the women of this house to me to try on this glass slipper. Whomever it fits shall become the bride of the prince.
The two stepsisters grabbed and shoved to get to the slipper and be the first to try it on. But it was no use. It was much too tight. Then the king's servant took the slipper back.
Give it here. It doesn't fit either of you.
He then saw Cinderella hiding behind the fireplace.
Come here, young ladies.
Oh, that's just our Cinder girl.
But the servant ignored her. Cinderella tried on the slipper, which of course fit her perfectly.
Yes, I am the one you seek. And here is the other slipper.
Cinderella put the other glass slipper on her foot, and suddenly there was a flash. And Cinderella stood before them dressed as beautifully as she had been the night of the ball. The stepmother and stepsisters suddenly realized that Cinderella was the mysterious princess. Kneeling before her in shame, they begged her forgiveness. Cinderella, filled with love and understanding, placed a hand on each of them, and the women were transformed into kind and gentle ladies. A short time later, Cinderella became Princess Ella, wife of the prince, and the whole kingdom prospered in peace and happiness forever after.